Here we are at Cooper MMA, Mark Gilston, Sean Cooper.
Morning.
And today I wanted to talk about what in Judo we call Sen No Sen. What it really refers to is anticipating what your opponent is going to do before they do it. It has a slightly different meaning in karate, but when I was doing Judo many years ago, it was a major part of one of those things you aspire to. And there are ways you can develop it. It's sort of the mystic part of Judo, but really, like anything, there are tangible things that you do and that you train yourself so that you sort of understand and you can develop this sense of anticipation. So I look at it as sort of 5 different aspects one can use to try and develop this ability. The most important thing, and this is across the board for any martial art, is just to learn to relax. You have to relax when you are fighting, when you're rolling. The more relaxed you are, the more you can become aware of what your partner is doing. So if we're moving, and I want to be able to feel what Sean is doing all the time. So here, and you'll see that I can follow him. You move aggressively, right? I'm totally aware of where he's going, even though I'm looking at the camera. And all I'm doing is touching the outside of his gi. Now, if I'm stiff, he'll move and I'll have to catch up. I can't do that at all. So this is the function of just being relaxed. The grip, whatever grip you use, is a big part of that, and that's really the second thing. My grip, I've talked about this in previous videos, just using the little 3 fingers to establish my grip. And again, this grip is completely relaxed. If he pulls out fast, I'll follow him. But if I'm really stiff and I hold on really tight and he pulls out fast, it just releases. So when I have the grip with both hands, similarly, when I move, I can bring him with me much more easily if I'm relaxed. So my grip is relaxed, and a small movement on my part makes for a big movement on his. But if I have a stiff grip, I'm going to have to make a much bigger movement to get him to follow, and even then, he doesn't follow in the same way. So that light grip is another big part of this. One of the things you have, we talk about in Judo, is making yourself heavy. And again, this all has to do with being relaxed, but in this particular case, there's a little more to it. When I want to become heavy, I focus my core, I focus my attention on my core, and I try and drive that into the ground. It's really difficult to describe, to explain, but you can try and if you think about it that way, it helps. So I'm going to be stiff as a board. And Sean is going to lift me up, and it's no problem. All right, now I'm going to make myself heavy and try the same. So it's much more difficult. And when I'm doing that, if you notice, as he's coming in, my stomach comes forward almost imperceptibly. I'm very relaxed, and I feel my feet digging into the mat. Go ahead. Very difficult for him. So that's another thing you can work on. You work on that with a partner. It's a very helpful exercise. In katas of Judo, the last kata is Sutsu no kata, the kata of 5. The first form in that kata is one where you develop building up on waves. And I find that learning this kata was also an extremely helpful in letting me develop Sen No Sen. So what I'm doing in the kata, I will demonstrate this first motion, okay? So if I just pushed him, he goes very, very little. What I'm doing to get that big reaction is my hand is moving ever so slightly back and forth, and it builds up momentum in his body. So each time I push, he moves a little bit more, and eventually it builds up, and I can use that force. So this is another aspect. And the last part, which I find extremely useful, is to train blindfolded. So you can get any fancy or simple blindfolds. But when I put on the blindfold and I train, again, this forces me to be relaxed, and it forces me to sense what my opponent is doing. So again, anytime Sean comes in, and I'm basically just touching him here, but as soon as he comes in to do anything or even strike me, I immediately am aware of what he's doing, and I can react to it.
That was good, man. You reacted, man. That was good. The arms came straight up.
Stevie Wonder Jitsu.
Man, serious.
So that's a little bit about Sen No Sen, developing that ability to anticipate what your opponent's doing, how I went about training for it. Hopefully you can learn some of those things and use them in your jiu-jitsu or in your judo. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. Awesome. Great stuff. Great lesson.
So this is Cooper MMA. If you like the video, please click like. You can get videos automatically when they're posted if you click on the bell, and subscribe to our channel, Seryoku Zenyo, meaning maximum efficiency.